Hey everyone, welcome back to PARSIQ's YouTube AMA. We have today Rong, the CEO of PARSIQ here, and today we'll be happy to answer any questions you have. So feel free to ask us anything about PARSIQ, in general. First, I just wanted to start off by saying that the market conditions have been quite brutal over the past couple of days. So I hope you're all staying safe. Obviously, it's not the first time we've seen it in 19, 18, 15, and so on. But yeah, it's pretty bad. It's pretty bad what's going on with the macro environment, with the equities, and spilling off into crypto, and of course the whole situation with Luna and Terra UST is I've never seen anything like it before. I mean, really, if any of you had any of your funds in UST or Terra, so I mean, I really feel for you guys. Luckily, PARSIQ's treasury wasn't in UST. We tested it for a little while, but withdraw. But I know that a lot of startups, a lot of crypto projects had their whole treasuries there earning yield. So it's definitely a tough time for everyone. But the important part is that to survive, to get through this. Every down market, every crisis, every type of recession, there will be a lot of new opportunities. Just the important part is to learn from your mistakes and go on.
Hi everyone. Glad to be on board with you all today. I think as what Tom was saying, right now is definitely not looking pretty for a lot of people. I trust that a lot of you you are not putting money that you can't afford to lose. If you do think of some way to just get through this period, I think that's equally important. I think there's you might have heard about it. I mean, I'm from Asia, from Singapore, and there's a Chinese saying that, well, the Chinese words for danger is actually a combination of the first word is danger, but the second word is opportunity. So whenever there's downtime, wherever things are not going very well, look deep enough, there's always opportunity for you. So I hope that's something you can take away from.
Exactly. And when there's blood on the streets, that's usually maximum opportunity. And the good part is that now will be a time where builders will actually thrive. are those who actually build and provide value, because all the marketers, all the hype people will take a back seat in these conditions. So the spotlight will be on those teams that will still be building through this brutal downturn. And I think this is an opportunity for many teams, including us, especially PARSIQ, to showcase what we can do. So let's get into the questions. With Tsunami soon to be released, what's the price structure for anyone using the service? Yeah, well, it will have a similar mechanism with the current one, in the sense that the IQ model will be applied, so it will be tied to the token. But we are still playing with some others. We don't think this will be subscription based, but rather a number of calls, and there will be a certain amount of free calls, and then the rest will be premium. We're still playing with a couple of mechanisms to make it more interesting, more elaborate. So we'll share details closer to the Tsunami release.
Just to add to this, in fact, I'm going to talk about pricing in really like full details with Daniel, our CTO, tomorrow. I was supposed to talk to him this morning, but it was postponed to tomorrow. Just to add a little bit to what Tom was saying, I think we're looking at free, we're looking at paid. We are also looking at like incentives. Definitely, we want to have something like a referral program. We want to have something like a kind of incentives for people to. Right now, they're testing the API out. So those are something that when I'm saying this, is a lot of it is targeted to businesses. But for example, even for referral programs, it doesn't mean you need to be a business to refer good projects to us. Sorry, can you hear me?
Hey, Ronkai, I think you're cutting out a bit. At least for me, it is like this. So I kind of heard what you said, but it was really muted, and you were cutting out between lines.
Right. So can you hear me now? Is it better?
Can't hear you.
No, it's still a bit jumpy, is it? Oh no. Let's see. If it's my devices, I can hear you perfectly, which means it might be my side.
Oh, now it's better.
Now it's better? Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, I was just talking about like a referral program, and we are looking at incentives for people to test our APIs out as well.
Yep.
More details will be released soon, so look forward to that.
Danny recently tweeted about the speed of Tsunami. How does this compare, like, with competitors? So we haven't tested like every single API in existence, but we have played around with quite a few of the bigger ones, and to our knowledge, this should be the fastest. Now there might be faster ones that we're not aware of or we haven't tested yet, but to our knowledge, this should be like one of the most well-performing ones. Are PARSIQ considering any possible token burn mechanics as part of the new tokenomics? Yes, it's being discussed. Like I said, we will introduce new mechanisms for the pricing and for the tokenomics, and this is one of the options on the table that we're discussing. Do PARSIQ have customers waiting for Tsunami, which currently don't use PARSIQ services? A lot. I mean, the ability to query data is a big value add to existing PARSIQ technology, and the API endpoints will be built in a way to reduce any friction and complexity. So a big number of customers will be new ones.
Yeah, just to add to this, because we're doing this lot of kickstarting the alpha testing, we actually have a pipeline of projects in it now. Some of them have already committed. Some of them are giving like a verbal commitment, but they need to confirm it with the final decision maker, that sort of level. And we are seeing a long list. Is longer than I thought. To give credit to the BD team and the product teams, they got way more than I expected. So I think that's really something exciting to that we will show more details when we come to the stage where we want to announce more things. I think at this stage we don't want to give you guys false hopes. We want to give you guys anything that we can't commit to. We want to make sure that yes, they are testing now. This is the results. These are sort of stuff. Then we'll show you guys.
How has PARSIQ been affected by the latest market actions? Did PARSIQ have any treasury in UST Luna? Well, as I mentioned, luckily we didn't. We tried it out. We put a portion of the treasury into Anchor to earn yield a couple of months ago and held it there for 1 month and then withdrew. I don't know why we withdrew, just kind of intuition or gut, I guess, because always a risk of the deep peg. But I never expected this to happen. I mean, I understood that it could deep peg for a time, and there could be some issues, but for a crash of this, I mean, it's like what in total 50 billion of market value wiped out in 2 days. It's crazy. I don't think any event in crypto really like a single event, not like MTGOX, Quadriga or BitConnect haven't been of this size. It's pretty huge. And yeah, I do feel sorry for the Terra team. I mean, they were building interesting stuff and having a lot of traction. So I can't imagine what they're going through right now. But yeah, it's crazy. I don't think I've seen anything like it ever in crypto. A lot of startups had their treasuries there, so I hope this at least while perhaps Luna will never recover, but maybe UST has a chance of returning its peg. How was the FCA meeting in the UK? Could PARSIQ have any role in the plans of the FCA for this sector?
Right. I think it was a really good meeting that I went to for the past 2 days. So perhaps I can share a little bit more. It's a sort of gathering of people across industries. I think it was 6 times oversubscribed. There were 600 plus people, and they could only host 96 attendees. And out of the 96 attendees, they could only allocate. It's not like all 96 are from crypto. They are from all over the place. Like even on my table, only a quarter are actually crypto. It's just me and Eva Lawrence. She's actually the COO of Arcane. The both of us are crypto background, crypto natives. Everyone else are they're law. They could be traditional finance. They're really getting inputs from all over the place. So it was actually pretty interesting to hear viewpoints across the board. And surprisingly, I think most of the feedback sort of converged to a certain point where we all agree that SCA needs to move faster. UK has definitely they're losing out in some sense, but they have a lot of unique opportunities that they can tap onto now that they are also out of EU because of post-Brexit. What can they actually position themselves in between US and EU? And that was a lot of feedback from that. I'm honored that PARSIQ, me representing PARSIQ, we are selected to actually give our input since it's like 6 times oversubscribed. I think in terms of roles in the plans of SCA for this sector, they say they'll continue to engage us. A lot of it is really providing the kind of policy legislation kind of role, and of course they recognize us for our inputs. If you're talking about businesses, I definitely cannot comment for now. A lot of things we have to keep it confidential.
Some time ago, it was mentioned about conversations with other governments. Is there any progress that can be shared about them?
Right. I guess these questions I can more or less take it as well. In terms of progress wise, we're still in contact with them. There's one that I'm directly in contact with. And right now, basically the prototype, like we built something for them, is for them to test it out. Basically, is at that stage, and that's probably the most I can share about it, because uh, the ball right now is not in our court. What can we do? We have already done it. It's up to them to test it, and they probably need to find some form of live, real use cases, and they want to test it out, see whether this works for them too.
Thoughts on the brutal bear market? Yeah, we shared some thoughts at the beginning of the stream, but just to elaborate, well, it is quite brutal. Is this the bottom? I don't know. Maybe, but maybe we have quite a bit lower to go. Who knows? But with that being said, now here's a shift. I know values are down across the board. I mean, like you see equities. I mean, look at Facebook, Meta, and Spotify and Netflix. Down like 70-80% or more. Coinbase down from all-time highs. I don't know how much more probably more than Bitcoin is. It's pretty crazy. So I think we're entering a value area where it's like safe to maybe starting to not financial advice, of course, but that's how I view it. Start to like dollar cost average into certain things, which is not to say we can't go lower. We can, and there's a good possibility we will. But this is a good area to start. I mean, it's things are pretty oversold, and when you see some, I mean, obviously a lot of these crypto projects, they will never recover. I'm not saying even recover to all-time highs. I'm saying they will never recover, period. They will just close shop, do something else. And this is yeah, this is how it's always has been, the purge. During each bear market, most stop building, abandon their projects because no funding coming in. The community isn't growing. No hype, no interest. But that's also an opportunity because now will be the search for value, the search for fundamentals, the search. People will be fleeing into. Well, they'll be fleeing into safer crypto assets like BTC and ETH and stables, but eventually, everyone will be looking for opportunities, and they will be looking for teams that are still building, still delivering, and there won't be that many of them if you think about percentage wise. And this is where also PARSIQ's opportunity is. That's pretty much why PARSIQ outperformed in the half of the bull market, because we kept building during the bear and show traction. So this is an opportunity in my opinion.
Just best I can add to that as well. I spoke to an old friend of mine who used to be in the police force with me. He's now in a private equity bank, and he told me that at least as part of his research, he actually looks into the tech market, and he's not interested in B2C. He's interested in B2B gems, because at that level, we're looking at private equity at the biggest growth opportunities. It's always the quiet, behind the scenes, B2B service kind of providers that survives, that will thrive, because they're behind the background, and the kind of volumes that comes through is absolutely different from the kind of B2C offerings. And that's the kind of things that people of that level are looking out for. And I think we are in a pretty interesting position that we are. I wouldn't say that we have been waiting for this moment. No one wants a bear market, I think, but it's an opportunity for us, because all the noise has been drowned out. I think in the next probably 3 to 6 months, you will see. I personally think it will be more than half of crypto projects they just gone. And what remains are those that can survive in the bear market.
Yeah. And when it was peak bull market, peak euphoria, it was mostly about hype, right? So the more hype, the better, the more interest in the project. But now it's over, now, the hype thing. So now people will be looking for fundamentals and then for teams that are actually continuing to deliver. And this is our time to shine. Not only us, but there's a lot of projects that are I think undervalued by a lot. I mean, I know legitimate projects that whether time their launch late, but they are trading at their private round or seed round valuations. And I know what they have planned. I know how much the technology can bring value. So there's always opportunities there. In terms of speed, so PARSIQ would be a more attractive option than Chainlink directly. Well, we're not competing with Chainlink. I mean, Chainlink is an oracle. They bring real world data to smart contracts to the blockchains. Pretty much PARSIQ does the opposite. So we take blockchain data and we process it and send it to the real world. Can we quantify a lot of customers? Well, it's an ongoing process. I mean, the number of early adopters is in the dozens. I mean, not in the lower end of the dozens. So, and it's just getting started. We're getting more and more on board. So I expect this number to double really, really fast. So, I mean, everyone needs a blockchain data. So if we are able to execute the roadmap, what we shared, then pretty much Parsec would cover like all the blockchain data needs from one place. You don't need to like use the graph on one side, either scan API on the other, then I don't know, glass node or something for a further use case. You'd have all the data, all everything from one place. How are things going regarding Tsunami? Good, good. We have our alpha testers already, and yeah, everything is going good. So far, so good. Really, really happy with the progress. I mean, API is pretty much ready in alpha version, being tested by us and others. I think most time will be on the UI side. Taking into account the current market, is IQT still scheduled to be launched in Q3? When can we expect it? There's no clear answer on this right now. Obviously, we're not going to launch into this type of market. So there's no. We're still aiming for this year, regardless if it's a down year. But at least the conditions have to be more favorable. How is Parsec looking in terms of funding, and can they manage to survive bear market? Well, luckily we have runway for a couple of years, so we're good on that front. And I mean, there's always an option at some point to do an additional fundraise. Question is at what terms and when, but that's always a plan B. So I think and also I think regardless of the asset prices, I feel that more and more companies and teams will come in to build, because it's not like 18 where there still was a question whether blockchain will get traction, whether this will stick, whether the industry will survive. Now there is no question about it. Now it's just everyone knows that now you weather the storm, and that's it, then you're good again. And I think we'll have teams coming in from Web 2 to Web 3 a lot during this bear, unlike 18 and 19. And they will all need blockchain data. So we can use this time to build, to onboard as many clients as possible, as much traction as possible. And then we can see the results after the market downturn is over. I mean, it proved to be a really good strategy, last time around for us. Will I lose 100% of my AQT airdrop if I unstake now, or were there snapshots taken in Q4 and Q1? No snapshots taken. You won't lose anything. You can withdraw at any time. You can put it back at any time. But that means you'll spend less time in the pool. That means theoretically your airdrop will be less than it could be if it stayed there for a longer period of time. Can you get into the further details of how the IQ2 airdrop for PRQ stakers will be distributed? Will it be a weighted distribution over the last quarters? Well, not really. I think we'll be implementing the same logic as with the 1 million PRQ incentive campaign, as in your share in the pool times your time in the pool, and across the whole period of launching the pool up until the right prior to the airdrop, or until the announcement that the IQT campaign is over. When is the final time to cash out staked PRQ tokens from Q4 and Q1? Well, I'm not sure I understand the question. I guess so you can withdraw your stake tokens at any time. But like I said, if you're waiting for the IQT airdrop, that means you'll probably get less than you would if they would first stay there in the pool. And also, right now we have the double yield campaigns, and withdrawals would probably diminish those rewards. But you can withdraw at any time. There's no problem. Is PRQ open to seeking more funding, either for IQ, PRQ, or both? Not at this time. Like I said, IQ protocol was pretty well funded, and PARSIQ also has runway, so not now. We'll see how long this market downturn lasts, and we are open to do in another round for PARSIQ sometime in the future, later. Not saying we will do it, but we are open to the possibility. And but for us to do this round, we need to show like massive traction. I want we need to have hundreds of teams on board and using the APIs. We'll have a big number of data lakes and other things to show before considering doing this fundraising round.
Perhaps I can add to this as well. I think for all startups, one of the key questions is not about how good your tech is or your customers, but of course it's like, can you survive as you build? I think it's about managing your cash flow. And I think Tom has said it quite a number of times. We have enough to last us for a couple of years. But that being said, I think looking at startups in general is basically a skill to really manage it in the sense of getting new fundings coming in even before you run out. By the time you're going to run out, that's too late. So of course we have our eyes on certain things, on the market conditions as well. And as Tom was mentioning, if we do need to, we might need to go have a second round of fundraising for PRQ. But that fundraising depends on a lot about market conditions, our own traction, how good we are. You don't want to go into a fundraising round where you end up you're not raising much because investors are not confident to come in. So there's a lot of all of this that we want to manage. But one great thing, of course, because of our treasury, we have that runway. We have more options. We don't have to come in now. We don't have to launch a round of fundraising, even if the conditions are not favorable to us, because we have to. Right now, we are in a situation that we can survive, and therefore we have the options to wait for a while more and look at the conditions when it's favorable. If we think we need to do it, we will do it.
Can you give more details of Tsunami API? What types of API data does PARSIQ support or apply to? So Tsunami is the core API. It gives you access to all fundamental raw data of the blockchain. I mean, like everything. like whatever block sizes, any transactional data, smart contract, everything that's on the blockchain, every small fine-grained thing that is on the blockchain, you can get from the Tsunami. In the future, it will also we will do functionality for it to provide it in an aggregated way, not just raw and fundamental data. But the data lakes that we spoke of, these will be sort of like forks of the Tsunami API, but for specific dedicated protocols or DeFi apps or dApps. This will be interesting, I think, because I know a lot of clients who need specifically Uniswap custom tailored data or Aave custom tailored data. So we will be looking to work with all these big DeFi and NFT protocols and dApps to get the data lakes on board for them to use and third party customers to use their data lakes. Well, as mentioned, the bear market is the opportunity. Has PARSIQ a bigger opportunity in a bear market than in a bull market? Well, yes. I mean, for a number of reasons. First of all, this comes from direct experience because we built in 18 and 19, and the project, took off in 2020, um, earlier than the most, really. You know, it, and this is exactly for this reason because we were building, we had products, we had clients, we had revenue, we offered something valuable to the industry, and but no one knew about PARSIQ. So at the point where the market got more bullish, more people came in, they took a look at PARSIQ and said like, hey, like, where have these guys been? They actually have a product, not just white papers. They actually have, a legitimate use case. They have clients and partners and so on. And that's a big reason for for how much traction PARSIQ got in 2020 and early 2021. Now, when things got too euphoric, that's when the attention economy kicked in because a lot more people came in with projects. I mean, we had way less projects in 2020, so it was much easier to get attention. Why? Because we came from a bear market. Everyone else already quit. They hung up the towel, and we yeah, it's an interesting thing. But after since 2021 and afterwards, so many came into the space. It became but no new people were coming into the space because retail interest has been going down actually ever since like February or March 2021, when Bitcoin hit all-time highs. And it became a game like who could gain the attention. And so it became a game of marketing, of hype, of unsustainable APYs, and so on and so forth. All those things we weren't the best at, nor was it our goal. So other things caught people's attentions. Now we go back where we can build valuable stuff for the industry, get even more bigger name clients, bigger name partners, show more traction, usage. And when the good market comes back, this is where people will take notice, because I'm guaranteeing you at least half, more than half, way more than half of the teams will quit. All those thousands of GameFi projects and others, a lot of them will close shop. And this is that's why I think in the bear market, this is the opportunity, because at heart we are builders, right? We are not hype generational machines. We are builders, and we have I mean, it's simply my experience that this is the way to go. You deliver value, it gets recognized because everyone else is not around.
Just to add to that as well, one thing especially, PARSIQ, we are not the company with the biggest market share, which basically means we have a hell lot more way to go compared to those that's already in that position. The transition from bear to bull market is a point where you really see us having the greatest growth opportunity.
How is this market crash affecting PARSIQ clients and demand for monitoring in general? Well, we haven't seen any drop on on the demand. Maybe it will come, but if it comes, the drop in demand, it comes only from from projects closing their doors. But I think this one will be different because crypto has not proven itself, and there will be new teams coming in to replace the old ones. So there will be, I don't see demand for blockchain data dropping. I hear different opinions on Web3, or they say just a marketing mainstream, and others see Web3 as the future. Well, I mean, PARSIQ's tagline has been like connecting Web2 to Web3 since like I don't know 2020, and it's interesting that only recently Web3 became a term for some reason. I don't know. I mean, it's just the next iteration of the internet. Really, it's with it's blockchain based, sort of decentralized, permissionless, trustless. Um, so I absolutely think this is the future, but you have to understand that Web3 doesn't necessarily mean like maximalism in terms of like decentralization and everything, because a fully decentralized, I mean, if you think about it, which projects or products really are fully decentralized? The closest one, or the only one I can think of, is Bitcoin. Really, the other ones are. Can you really call them completely decentralized, like 100%? You can't. I mean, there's always someone having power or something. I mean, take a look at the decentralized money, UST, Terra, Luna, right? I mean, were they really decentralized? I mean, no project, in my opinion, is 100%. No product is 100% decentralized. But we introduce aspects of permissionlessness and decentralization to to make things possible that weren't possible with Web 2. We make like ownership possible, ownership of assets, finance, ownership of content, and everything else. And so I 100% think that Web3 is the future. Just don't define Web3 as some kind of utopian full decentralization. It doesn't make sense, and it won't be so. I don't think now, maybe not ever. And this is pretty much the approach we have here at PARSIQ. That things will always be like a hybrid model between centralized and decentralized parts. And this is something we are supporting with the new products that we're building. So I think I covered this one. Let's see. Mhm. Any new chains coming on board that PARSIQ IQ protocol will be supporting that you're willing to share? Yeah, so we'll be the first version of Tsunami. The at launch will be supporting four chains. All chains will be EVM compatible. Three of them are those that are available on the current PARSIQ platform. One will be a new one, a big one, an alternate layer one, and then we'll just keep adding one by one until we have all the big ones covered. How's the hiring situation going on, especially with the current bear market? Are you still expanding and hiring? Yes, we're still hiring. I mean, this is the reason we didn't go too aggressive with it. We slowly, hired, expanded, because otherwise, when you have to cut, people, it's not good. It's not good for team morale, for anything. So that's why we didn't rush and hired like one by one, slowly picking the right candidates, and we'll continue to do so. Just won't be rushing things. Is PRQBoost still active? What is the current timeline? It's active, but as I mentioned, we're working on a plan on when to close the program and what to how to go forward with this, what to replace it with. So be on the lookout for an announcement in the next like month or two. Since Tsunami API is launching around July, what comes next? Can you please explain the next milestones a bit? So after the Tsunami API, we will have the data lakes, which are specific APIs to get the custom tailored data of a specific decentralized application or a DeFi protocol or an NFT application. Think, I don't know, Uniswap, Aave, Compound, anyone really. Well, there are thousands out there. So this is a pretty important milestone because I don't think anyone is quite offering this custom tailored like DApp data, like APIs to get this because we have to dive deep into the custom logic of each DApp and protocol to implement this. I think this will be pretty valuable for the dApps and protocols themselves, as well as any third parties who want the data from these dApps and protocols. We will have data hubs for storage functionality. We and after that we have the developer SDK, so that the developers could more easily interact with the APIs and build things. And there's also the PARSIQ DAO coming, because one of the, I mean, the DAO will have a lot of use cases, but one of them will be that eventually we cannot do all these data lakes ourselves. That would be too much resource. And so if you want to expand and get more data lakes, we would outsource. The DAO could outsource this to developers to build these data lakes on the PARSIQ network, and also get incentivized with grants, for example, that the DAO would decide.
Perhaps I can add to this as well. I think a lot of what Tom suggests, or what Tom mentioned, are really things that is already in the pipeline. We those things are basically it forms towards the final vision of what our flagship product is really going to do. Not to say that we are not exploring different things as well. I think as we talk about the various things like next milestones, etc. There are those that have been confirmed, and there are those that we know we probably need to have a strategic view, looking forward. What sort of things do we want to build as well? We're looking at what our competitors are doing. We're looking at what sort of things do our clients really need as well. It's I think API has always been a case where if you talk to a dev, that's what they need, that's what they want, because they're like, give it to me, let me build my things. After that, I don't need like you to mess it up for me. And that's great. And then there is the other side of things where they're too busy and they just want a closed solution. But building a closed solution doesn't necessarily match. It's a bit different from off the shelf, where we talk about a product or a web tool kind of offerings. So we need to be a bit more clear in terms of is there anything else we want to close the loop for them, where there's a sub product, for example, something that people want. And that's something that we are continuously looking into it actually. And those may be added into our product pipeline as we go along, as we build along.
And I think last question: will IQ protocol affect PRQ token price? So you mean the protocol itself? No, it has no effect on the token price. However, I mean, IQ protocol powers the model that gives PRQ its utility. If you mean, will the IQ protocol token affect PRQ token price? I don't know, but I don't see why it would really. I mean, I don't see a reason why it would. So it can play out in different ways. Like, maybe, personally, I don't think it will have any correlation, but I've seen like situations where one price performs well, and any other project that's in the ecosystem of said project also starts performing well, because but it's I have no idea, but I don't see why it would affect it negatively. If the IQ protocol rental market launches Q2 and the IQT launches in Q2, what options for payment will be available for those projects launching on the NFT rental marketplace earlier? How will it work? So I don't know when IQT launches. Well, we have some ideas, but there's no exact date. So we're aiming for this year, but we would like to have at least more stable and favorable market conditions. And if we'll have the NFT rental marketplace launched, we'll have a certain amount of games and projects integrated, a certain amount of users and wallets interacting with the protocol. That's all momentum. That's all traction. The more we have, before the token launches, the better. Because again, we have something to show, not just empty words and white papers, but we can actually show what value the protocol is bringing into the market. But coming back to the question, so IQT is not needed to pay for the rentals or for IQ protocol integrations at this point. So the rental marketplace can launch earlier. There's nothing wrong with that. But with IQT would be the launch of the IQ DAO and the IQ Treasury, the DAO Treasury, which means that the fees collected will be going to the Treasury wallet, the rental fees, and token holders, DAO members can decide what to do with that treasury. So that can be used to buy back IQT tokens from the market and burned. It can be used to buy back IQT tokens and staked for to increase the treasury, or anything else really. So it's the governance functionality will be there, the utility functionality will be there, but no payment functionality. So the rental marketplace can launch before the token does.
Just to add to this, I think we have to look at IQT very differently for how we look at PRQ. I think what Tom already alluded to, basically IQT is a governance token, and there's a lot of things when we launch IQT, it's launched also on the platform on IQ protocol, which is fundamentally very different from PARSIQ. PARSIQ is a service provider. IQ protocol is also a service provider in a sense, because we are looking at both fungible and NFT renting services, but they're essentially different, and that's also why the tokens are different. They have different utilities. When you hold on to it, it has different functions. It gives you things that are it basically it has different incentives to hold on to it or to stake it or to do whatever you want with it and on different platforms. So I think that's something that we do want you guys to make sure you all understand. Of course, more details for IQT will come out soon, but for now, I think this is probably important for you guys to realize as well.
Yeah. I think that sort of concludes today's AMA. We don't have any more questions. And yep, and to close this out again, I know probably a lot of people have had their net worth decreased with the brutal markets and the whole situation with Terra and UST, but there will always be better times. So the thing with crypto is it's important to not quit and not give up and leave, because then that's it. If you survive the bear, then you're good. You will have an enormous amount of opportunities in this space. No other space can provide this. This is really, yeah. It's all you have to do is survive and not leave this space. That's it. Stay safe out there, guys, and thanks for joining. Thanks for tuning in. See you in about 2 weeks.
See you guys. Take care.
Yep. Bye, everyone.
Bye.